this computer. Hey everybody, happy Monday. We are so blessed tonight to be able to have Miss Kim Rankin with us. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her and then let her share her story in just a minute. But I did want to reiterate for those of you who are just on our balance before the holidays call, that you ladies did an awesome job explaining all those products. Thank you so much. They did record that. So if you've got someone who's wanting to know about the products that are available for the balance before the holidays challenge coming up next week, you can use that recording to send to them because it was really informative, just a great overall view of those products. Tomorrow is our last day for 10% off plus the 3 months of free shipping. And then it's site-wide for anybody to get 10% off and get free shipping if they place an order. So this is a great time to follow up with people that haven't placed an order this month, but maybe have been on subscription before. You got over 24 hours to get those double bonuses, double credits. So don't give up until the last minute on those double the fun things. Last thing I wanted to share before I turn it over for our the meat of the evening is that Jessica announced today that we're going to be doing as a larger team. She will be leading a book study in October, and this is going to be a really good book, not just for your business, but for mindset, really capturing our thoughts. Kim knows exactly what I'm talking about because she listened to the podcast that this lady recorded and wrote book 12 times. It's that good. And it's one of the books from the same lady, just about our beliefs and how that really does change how we show up in our lives, the joy that we experience and what, the Lord is able to do with us and through us based on what we're believing. And so that is the Victorious Emotions. I made a post about it on the business page. Grab that on your Kindle or go ahead and order it. It really will be a good one. It's a shorter book, so it's not going to be a massive, long time commitment. And Jessica is going to be doing an hour-long Thursdays at our time, 12:30 Eastern, will be 30 minutes of recapping the book and then 30 minutes of work and worship, which will be great. And you could always catch those recordings at a time that would be convenient for you. So book studies are good, especially if you're not a reader. They're always a great opportunity to get into some accountability with personal development and choosing to think and act differently. So be on the lookout for that. I think that's it. Jody, do you have anything else? Am I missing anything super important? Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to introduce you to Miss Kim. You see her up there. She's so beautiful. Kim, when did you join?
2015.
2015. Okay, so
10
same
years
as me.
ago.
So we've been doing this for 10 years. We've been around the block. And she is on our team underneath a different diamond that is a sideline sister of ours under Jessica. So we are all a part of the larger Heffley family. And Kim is a Sapphire ambassador. She has had a global business, not just in the States, but worked in Mexico and is really, truly an amazing woman who was a nurse in prior to Plexus life, mama, and I just love watching her in a different season than I am currently in, knowing that look how beautiful she is. We can thrive, post 50 and be successful and still make a huge impact. So I'm excited for you to hear her story, hear her encouragement, because she has truly worked this business in very different seasons of life and has made it work and we can call it come back. We can call it a comeback. But really what it is just the flow of business and the flow of seasons and the flow of not letting yourself get trapped into a down season and just entering back in and knowing that you're not starting from ground zero, right? You're always starting with a leg up on things. So I'm excited for us to hear from her. Take your pen out, just be attentive and listen to everything she says.
And I love the fact you call me Miss Kim because that makes me feel like your mother. So thank you for that.
It's the South. It's the
I
Georgia.
know, I know. No, I appreciate that. And thank you to Plexus. I don't look my age. Thank you, Plexus. But I'm so glad Sally asked me to join you all. I have admired her business from the side and know that she is an incredible leader of a team. So it's nice to see your faces up here. And boy, you guys stay up late. You must have kids like you have to bathe and feed and stuff. So anyway, I am a 62-year-old grandma living in Texas. We kind of picked up about 3 years ago after living in Arkansas for 30 years because our daughter said, "Hey, come to Texas." And we said, "Give us a reason." So she gave us a grandbaby. And we hightailed it so quickly out of Arkansas and decided we were going to go rural, which was quite humorous because we've always been city people. And we live in a town of 2,000 people now on acreage, and we have no clue what we're doing, but we're having the best time in this season. But it's solely, truly because of the vehicle Plexus has given us to do that. So let me backtrack about 10 years ago when I had this sweet little social worker intern, Sunny Keck, who's now, but at the time she was this little kid on my unit who kept on trying to talk to me about Plexus. And you know those people who roll their eyes, dodge you. I was sadly that until I had hit a wall and thought, oh, geez, I have no other options. I'm going to have to just let her talk to me, and then I'll order and I'll send it back, and then we can be done with it. And truly, I texted her and said, all right, I'll come in and talk to you, and sat in her office, my arms crossed, kind of my back to her, let her give me the pitch, ordered it, and then what something crazy happened because it worked. But I was going to be a closet user because honestly, I didn't understand this whole network marketing or social media or any of that. I was on Facebook to creep on my kids, and I knew how to pick up a phone, but I didn't know about apps or any of that. I old school. And so I was going to stay in the closet and be a happy little closet user until I was pulled out of the proverbial closet by a coworker who said, "There's something different about you. What are you doing and how can I get it?" Now, I'm going to tell you that this next statement has, I laugh at it because if this doesn't give you hope, nothing will. I said out loud, "I'm drinking this pink stuff and I think I have a website." That's how I started my business. I had no thought about what that meant. And I had to ask Sunny what my site was. And she gave me a post-it note, which I still have today, that I showed it. And that's how my business started. I don't want to say it was an accidental business. It was a no thought business because I didn't understand the opportunity until I got that you've got a deposit. And I remember I was a psych nurse and at the VA, and you sure don't have your phone out on a psych unit. And so I'd keep it in my pocket, but I was checking and my online banking and it said, so I went into Sunny's office. I'm like, what is this? She's like, well, you share Plexus. And I thought at that moment, I think I might need to look at this a little differently. And my husband, of now 41 years. Uh, he's an attorney, was an attorney, well, always an attorney. And so I called him from the unit one day and I said, "Hey, I need you to go up to this Plexus event." I understood the science behind it as a nurse and all that good stuff, but I didn't understand the business side of things. And I said, "Will you go and poke holes in this?" Because if you know attorneys, that's what they live for. You say the sky is blue and they will argue it. And that's who I'm married to. So I figured he would go and tell me to run. And I don't know where you all live, but I was asking him to drive 40 miles to this little town of Searcy, Arkansas to listen to this meeting from that Jessica Heffley was giving. And he sat in the back with his arms crossed. Then on his way home, he called me and he said, "If we don't do this, we're crazy." He said, "This is brilliant." And from that point on, we have never looked back. Now, I will tell you, I came into this with no pretense, no stereotype, no understanding of network marketing. I know you younger kids. I can say that because you call me Miss Kim, but you younger guys kind of have grown up with this. I had no concept of that, but I looked at it, this business as everything is figure outable. And that's kind of how I've gone through life is I'll jump in and I'll figure it out along the way because what's your option? And so I just kind of let it that way. Again, I'm drinking pink stuff and I have a website. And so each time I learned a little something more, but through it all, I realized that if I don't do this like Kim, if I try to do it like Sally or Jessica or Sunny, I'm just going to really fail fast because it's not authentic. And I got to stay in my own lane and I got to figure out what that lane is in order to become credible and to be able to sustain a business through the seasons of life. And I will tell you, when I look at you all, I think I have never in 10 years sold a kid's plexus product. Never. And I'm sure you all have built businesses around that. And so what I'm saying is figure out who your people are, and you don't need to be everything for everyone. And so understanding that going in is such a blessing because it takes a lot of the pressure off of, I have to be an expert for everything and everyone. No, just find your people and serve your people because when they know you and trust you, then remarkable things happen and businesses grow and friendships develop and lives are changed. But as I look at over the years, and there have been seasons. I mean, as I always say, I came into this kind of thinking, oh, if I post on Facebook, I'll become a millionaire. I mean, significantly distorted delusions of what this could be. But I kind of realized that seasons are going to come and go in this business. It's natural. It's natural with any business. I mean, you have great seasons, you have not so great seasons, but to look at your seasons of maybe your little dips as such a blessing because it gives you time to grow into the next season. And initially, I used to be like, oh my gosh, nobody wants this. What's going to happen? Everybody's turning off. And that mindset just was paralyzing. And then I realized, whoa, this is such a gift to have a, a lull because it is preparing me for that next launch, whatever that looks like. And there have been so many over the years, but that whole thing of, okay, when I'm down low, okay, what can I fix? What holes can I patch? What can I learn more on? Because it's just going to make me more equipped for that next great season whenever it comes. Sometimes it comes fast, sometimes it's a little slower to appear, but capturing that time as a positive has been really helpful to just weather the longevity of success in this business. When I think about this last wave, and I think Sally reached out to me because I had a ridiculously high month of enrollments the other month. And what's very funny, it was on the skincare, and I am not a person. I am not a makeup person. I could care less about any of that. So when I heard Plexus was bringing on a skincare line, I was in the back of convention with my arms crossing it. Ugh, because I have built my business on gut health. I am a nurse. That is, and so I thought I will be a team player for my team. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, for Pete's sake, do not make me sit and put on makeup on Facebook. Won't do it. I can't do it. And as I started to listen to that, I once again my many times I have had to eat my words, realizing the science and the brilliance and all the things that they were bringing us, which why would I doubt that? That's what Plexus does for us. But I realized at that moment, Plexus just opened up an entirely new market for me, a market that I said never, not interested. And so that month, because again, I dive in and figure it out. I decided I was just going to pick up the phone because I'm still a phone person. I picked up the phone and I called people and said, hey, I just want to give you a heads up that I do not want people to think you're my mother when we're together. So you need to get this skincare stuff. And all of those enrollments, that crazy number was because I told people it's going to be really sad if you look older than I do when we're together. And now I think, oh, this has been such a wonderful respite because instead of talking to people about their poop and their dosing and this, now I'm just calling people. I'm like, hey, wash your face. How does it look? And it has been so refreshing to have a market that I never anticipated, nor was I embracing going in. So when you all look at your business, realize, I mean, it's going to change and surprise you. And all you have to do is say, okay, I'm in my lane and I'm going because incredible things can happen when you just see that, man, other people are doing it. It's possible. Let me give it a shot. So, you know, have fun with it. It is truly the most remarkable um, A, community, but B, opportunity to just grow alongside people. And when you do it in your authentic way, and again, if I showed up talking about mascara, people would be like, "Who are you?" But when I call and say, "Hey, don't look old, wash your face," it's it's relatable because they know that's how I operate. So be yourself and have fun with it and just let people, you know, understand that when that you hear from them or reach out from them, it's because you believe and it's from the heart and you want to help them. And so when you're able to do that because you've stayed the course through all the seasons, it gives you so much more credibility to find that success that will eventually come for you if you just stay in your lane, keep your eyes ahead of you, and just have fun.
I love it. That is hysterical. It makes me want to call people and say that. I was like, have been feeling so old lately. So it was like perfect timing for me. I feel like the skincare, I was like, give me something to lather
Yeah,
on my face.
what's crazy is, when you think of that, and I always tell my team, hey, you didn't die, did you? And you can say, I'm a very red concrete, there's not a lot of fluff, but you know, I thought, I am not going to die if I call and say this to these people. They're just going to, and they did. They're all like, all right, let me get it. What do I need to do? And I thought, that is such a, a confirmation of confidence and being bold and just going for it, not and getting out of your own way, your own headspace, and just having fun and seeing where it lands. And it landed with Sally Lewis calling, said, hey,
That's
what'd you
it.
do? Will you come talk to my team?
I know, so good. We had just literally just started and we were like, we need to restart getting people's real stories. Like, let's hear from real people again. Not just about like, here's how to plug into the opportunity, which those have been awesome from corporate, but really just like reminding like iron sharpens iron. That's Jody's whole team is, Team Iron, because that's really what this can be. And so we are so thankful for you taking your time. We know that it's late, but I think everyone has found some encouragement and something to take away from those perfect 20 minutes that we just had from you. And two, just like no matter how long we feel like we've been doing this, I tell my team often, like, I quite literally have been a mom for 10 years, but that may be it. Like, other than being married and being a mom and being alive, like, I haven't done anything this long ever. And so, like, reminding ourselves that, like, these like quick and jumping to jobs, like we're in a season of life where it's like, oh, I'm working, or I just got out of college, or I've been doing this, but now I have to do this, and I just had a baby, so I can't work anymore. And it feels like life jumbles and jumps around, but like that longevity and that stick to itiveness that you're talking about, where we're just figuring out like, how do I stay the distance in something and not feel like fail, success. And it's like, no, that is just being
That's
in something
normal.
long enough to see multiple seasons and still sticking around and being grateful. I love that you talked about the dips and that the lulls are preparing us for your next launch and to be grateful for those moments. I don't know how often I've I've said like even if I've gone backwards in points or I've seen, a dip in my paycheck or something, there have been times like when my father passed away or when we had the hurricane last year, literally 2 days ago, a year ago, um, where I couldn't work. Like there were just times where I had to take a back seat and Plexus was still here. I didn't get fired. I didn't have someone saying, well, you'll have to find something else because you're not welcome anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like there, and not only that, I was still receiving a paycheck, even if it wasn't a growing one. Like there is just nothing like this opportunity and the ability to have flexibility in your life like that. And I'm so grateful. So,
And let me just add something because I don't think maybe Sally, you know some of
right.
my significant story, but I want to share something with you
Yeah.
all because you, when I came into this as a closet user, I had no idea what was actually waiting for me um, in terms of significant life changes. And and when I realized how God so put this in my path, although resistant at first, um, he so put me on this path because he knew what was coming and he wanted to prepare me. And so coming off, this was brought to me after we had buried my son. And I never thought that I would have, let alone hope again, but it pulled me out of the darkest of times because I was getting out of my own way to help others. And that's, that's the way you turn around and help somebody else and you heal. But as I was beginning to just, my God, and I'm pooping and I know migraines and Diet Coke, whop, bam, I got a diagnosis of a lung disease, a genetic lung disease. Now, the shocker of it is for 6 years, I'd been knocking on doors saying, there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And everybody wanted to pat my head and send me on my way. But I kept going until I finally got a diagnosis and then had to start changing how I live my life. But here's the deal. My transplant team, my pulmonologist, every expert that pokes and prods at me says, you are so changing the statistics and what this disease looks like because of how healthy you are. And I think, holy cow, I started from migraines. And because God put this and I respected what it was slowly doing, it just all of a sudden became so perfectly clear. And the respect now that I have for this business and talking to people and touch, because I'm like, hey, listen, you got a cold. Imagine, what this can do for you if it can do for me. And so again, you never know what's lurking around the corner, but to make decisions, work your business, talk to the people like it depends on it because it might someday. And so respect what you've got because it's remarkable what they have done for us. It changes lives. For me, it's saving my life. My life expectancy was 2 years ago. Take that. Thank you, Plexus. And so again, you never know. So work it and do it like, oh, maybe something could happen. Man, I want to be prepared.
That's so good. Talk about belief and what we have to offer. Part of the podcast that we were talking about earlier, that Jessica, we had a Jewel call today about it, and I can share the podcast, but it's the book that we'll be reading all together in October if you want to do that. Is talking about that of just like what are your beliefs around this business? So she encouraged us like what are strong beliefs that you're going to choose to believe instead of all of the crazy ones that we allow ourselves to believe all the time, about the like what your purpose is and about what you're doing and about how you're going to go after your business. And a lot of what people were sharing were about like getting back to the core belief that we truly have something that will help people. We have something that people need, whether they know it or not. And I was just talking to another older lady today Her husband was is very sick and he's been in and out of the hospital and now he's allergic to all the meds that he's, been taking and now she's having an allergic reaction to her medicine and she's just like, I just don't think I can take anything else. We're scared of everything now. And it's like, what a trapped feeling, what a feeling of being enslaved and hopeless to the medical world and to your health and to your own body. And I wrote mine down so I can read it to you. Um, One of the things that I wrote down was that people are sick, tired, and enslaved to poor health and finances, and we get to partner with the Lord to provide a way of escape. And so it's such a lifeline. And whether it's for something someone's going through right now or providing something that the Lord is going to use in their life like him. And truthfully, like, I mean, we can all recount things like that. Like, had I not had plexus when this came up, or had I not had plexus when X, Y, and Z happened in my life, it would have looked really different. And so it truly is such a different perspective. And we can lose sight of that. The longer we're doing this, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm talking about gut health again. Nobody cares, if nobody gets it or nobody wants it. And it's like, no, because there is somebody out there that is really struggling and needs to understand how life-changing this is. Kim,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
I loved it. It was nice meeting you all.
Does anybody have a quick question? It's almost 9:30, so I want to be able to let you guys go, but any questions for Kim before we jump off?
I see you caught that, Miss Kim. I got it.
I'm trying. I feel like I'm 17, even if I am almost
I
40.
do too. It doesn't change.
That's good. That's good to know. All right, you guys, thank you for being on. I will for sure post the recording. Thank you a million to Kim. And if we have any questions later, if you have anyone you want to connect with Kim, she is, of course, a
Absolutely.
wonderful friend of our team and would love to do that as well. Good night,
Absolutely.
you
Y'all
guys.
have a great night. Thanks for inviting me. Bye bye.